All right, folks, so by now you may have already heard that Garmin has released the Enduro, the solar-powered ultra-performance GPS multi-sport watch. If you haven't watched my previous video where I went over all the details, I'll have that link down in the description below. This video is going to be more of an old-fashioned unboxing video where we're going to unbox it, we're going to set it up, we're going to take a really up-close look at it, and I'll have some nice juicy up-close shots for you. We're going to have a full interface tour. I'll also be comparing the new UltraFit Band compared to the Apple Watch Sport Loop, as well as the nylon band of the Chorus Pace 2, which are really nice bands. And then we're also going to do some size and weight comparisons with a whole bunch of watches I have over here. And at the end of the video, we're going to wrap things up with my final thoughts on the Enduro and who this watch is actually for and what this watch is actually all about. So I guess without further ado, let's go ahead and get this out of the box. So this is going to be the same type of box that you're going to get with a Garmin Fenix. And as you can tell, this thing is completely sealed. So let's go ahead and get this open. The top just comes off just like that. And there is the Enduro. As you just saw, this was a sealed unit, but for some reason this little sticker is off. All right, so let's go ahead and take the watch out and check out what's in the box first. So in here we have the standard Garmin charging cable and manuals. That's it. So there's this little foam piece right here. We're gonna go ahead and take that out, and then the watch itself. So let's go ahead and peel the sticker off. That's always pretty satisfying. So before we turn it on, let's go ahead and take a really close look at it. And as you can tell, it is going to resemble a Fenix 6X Pro Solar. This is going to be the titanium DLC version, by the way. So up here, we have a nice green button. There's going to be a nice green accent around the watch face. Really nice looking bezel right there. And then on the back, it says Enduro, Power Glass, 100 meters of water resistance, titanium, as well as the DLC coating. Does look like it has a metal back, and then it's going to have the resin sides, and then again with the titanium bezel up here. Okay, so now let's go ahead and get it set up with Garmin Connect, and that way we can take a look at the interface. All right, so we're going to go ahead and turn it on with the upper left-hand button right here. There we go. And then we're going to go into Garmin Devices. We're going to choose English, pair with phone. We're going to say yes, and then we're going to go ahead and add device in Garmin Connect. Just pops up just like that, ready to connect to your Enduro. So we're going to connect it. There's going to be a pin that you have to enter. And then we're going to have to allow the Enduro to display iPhone notifications. I'm going to go ahead and keep my current tracker right now because I want to show you how Physio TrueUp works on this actually. And just like that, well done. And then it's going to ask you your sleep schedule. And then if you want to receive notifications between these times, I definitely don't. No. Get the little email for thanks for registering your Enduro. We're going to go ahead and sync now. And then the syncing procedure, this basically just takes a few minutes and then you are all set, so all done. And then these are going to be the up and down keys right here. So you're going to use these to scroll through the widgets when you're on the watch face. So if we press the down key, these are going to be the stock widgets at this point. So it's going to show the solar intensity, the weather, the sunset and sunrise. You're going to have an ABC widget for an altimeter, barometer, and compass, your performance status, training status, last activities, steps, health stats, pulse OX, calendar, some notifications, and then a music control, but this is actually showing the last YouTube video that I was watching. So let's go and edit these right now. So these are the widgets that are currently showing right now on there. And then if we scroll all the way down to the bottom, we can go and add more widgets right here. So we're just going to go and add all of them. So altitude acclimation, alternate time zones, the altimeter, barometer, body battery, calories, compass, floors climbed, Garmin coach. There's going to be the golf widget, heart rate, history, intensity minutes, last ride, last swim, last run, my day respiration, sleep, stress, temperature. And then the next thing we're going to do is start to set up our activities. So let's go ahead and click next right here. You're going to use the upper right hand button. So this is going to be the basically choose your activities start screen right here. So I'm going to just go ahead and choose all of these just so you guys can see what exactly is going on here. So there's going to be the trail run, the new ultra run profile, running. So I went ahead and added all of the activity profiles. So basically right here, it says going to be tip, hold for activity settings, training, and more. So if we hold that, it's going to have the settings for the trail run activity. And then we're going to have a training menu, a navigation menu, and then we can remove it from the favorites. And then we can copy the activity if we want to basically rename or basically copy a lot of the settings from that and then rename it something else. And then we can reorder the app and then we can remove the app from the list. If we actually scroll down all the way, this will actually show the complete settings for the entire watch. So this is going to be the activities and apps where you can actually customize each of the activity profiles. And then there's going to be widgets, the controls, which is going to be the controls menu that we saw earlier. There's going to be the watch face. So really quick, let's just go ahead and go through those. So the watch face, this is the one that came stock on the watch. we scroll through there, it just says add new. This is going to be the first one. It looks like a more of an analog look to it. Pretty similar to a lot of the Fenix 6 watch faces, but you'll notice that it has the little Enduro logo right up top there. This one's interesting. It has a little topo map right there on the back. That one's kind of cool too, but we're going to go ahead and stick with this one right here. So let's go back to the activities list really quick. So we can go ahead and press that upper right hand button. So we're going to have trail run. Here's going to be all the activity profiles. And then there's going to be some extras down here too. So there's going to be navigate, expedition mode, and then track me. And then if we add, here's going to be actually some more that we can add. So there's going to be a multi-sport profile. You can add the surf activity profile as well, true swing for golfing, project waypoint, Pilates, floor climb, elliptical, stair stepper, jump master, tactical boat, HRV stress, clocks, and then another kind of just generic profile. Let's also go ahead and take a look at the trail run profile as well as the ultra run profile. And my curiosity with this is if the VO2 Max is actually enabled by default. So one of the other new features that came alongside the Enduro was the trail running VO2 Max. It's going to have VO2 Max that's going to be better accounted for trail running where there's going to be a lot of undulating terrain. So the previous VO2 Max measurement was a little bit more applicable for running on flat terrain for road running. So if we go into trail run right here, let's go ahead and go into the options. So trail run settings. And we have data screens, alerts, power mode, metronome, auto lap, auto pause, climb pro is on, auto climb, 3D speed, 3D distance, lap key, auto scroll, segment alerts, GPS plus GLONASS, and then power save timeout, and then record VO2 Max. So that is on by default. So what a lot of people have done in the past is use the trail run profile for runs that they didn't necessarily want to count into their VO2 Max value. So if it's just going to be like a slow jog, or if it's just not a serious run or something like that, they wouldn't necessarily use the regular run profile, they use the trail run profile. So what you can see though from the trail run profile, at least on this unit right here, is that the VO2 Max value is on. So make sure to go and disable that if you still want to go ahead and use the trail run profile for runs that won't feed into your VO2 Max, or you can actually even go ahead and copy this profile and then just go ahead and turn the VO2 Max on another trail run profile if you'd like. And then you can change the background color, accent color, and then rename it if you want, and then restore the defaults. And then here's going to be the ultra run profile right here. So this is going to have the new ultra run rest timer. So we're going to press the lower right hand key to enable that. And then for the data screens, this is essentially going to be, again, how this is set up by default. So it's going to have your heart rate, distance, pace, and timer on the first data page. Second data page is going to have heart rate, total ascent, vertical speed, and timer. Third is going to have heart rate, lap distance, lap pace, and lap time, time of day, and then just basically a regular breadcrumb style map. And then for these settings, let's go ahead and go into there. So data screens, you can have alerts, power mode, metronome, basically a lot of the same stuff that you saw in the trail run profile. And then here's also the lap key. So with the ultra run profile, it does have that rest timer, so you can actually customize that. So with the lap key, you can have it take a normal lap just like it would with a normal run profile, or you could do a lap plus rest, and then you could do a rest only. And again, with the ultra run profile, this does also have the record VO2 Max value being on, background color. And then you also can enable a power mode for the ultra run. So this is going to be normal. So this is going to be using GLONASS. It's going to have heart rate as well as phone connectivity. And then there's going to be the max battery mode, and that's going to use the ultra track. There's going to be jacket mode, which basically disables the heart rate sensor. And so that's going to be when you're going to be wearing it outside your jacket. Then there's going to be a training menu right here, workouts, intervals, Pace Pro plans, setting a target, race and activity, and your training calendar. It's going to be navigation. So this is going to be all the courses that you're going to have on here. I don't have any loaded right now. Activities, save locations, sight and go, coordinates, save location. So while we're in here, let's go ahead and go into the power manager. So this is going to be the battery saver option. And what you can see here is that with a full charge, you can get that full 130 days. During sleep, you can go ahead and turn on the battery saver option during sleep, which is pretty cool. And then these are the actual settings for the battery saver option. So basically it's going to be watch face, it's going to be low power. It's going to disconnect your phone, activity tracking, not going to change. Wrist heart rate turns off. Pulse ox is going to be off. Backlight's going to be off. And then here's going to be the power modes, and these are going to be the built-in power modes. So with a full charge, with the max battery option, you should get a full 200 hours out of it. There's going to be the jacket mode right here. And then here's where you can go ahead and add a new activity, or I'm sorry, a new power manager mode. So go ahead and add that. So you can go ahead and name it whatever you want. So I'll call this one Netflix. These are going to be where you can actually change these settings. So there's going to be the GPS. You can go and turn it off if you'd like to. You can have normal, or you can use the Ultra Track mode, GPS plus GLONASS, Galileo. And then you can go ahead and change the phone settings where you can disconnect it or connect it. Wrist heart rate, you can go and turn it off if you'd like to, or turn it on. Pulse aux, you're going to allow the map or disable it. Display is going to be always on, or you can time it out. Backlight settings as well. And then whether you're going to allow accessories. Save the changes. Boom, there you go. And then this is kind of a weird one. So Garmin, I think about a year or two ago, they started going with a battery hours rather than a battery percentage. So go ahead and go into the power options, power manager mode, and then go into the battery percentage to turn that on. So you may have remembered from earlier that the performance status, as well as the training status and the activity list, these were actually not necessarily synced over from one device to the other, but now they actually have using the Physio TrueUp. Now, it's not necessarily perfect, so you can actually see that the training status over here says recovery, where it says over here that I'm peaking. This actually is more accurate than this watch right now, because I actually am peaking right now, but basically you will see that from the performance widget that my FTP actually has all transferred over, even though I actually haven't used this watch for an activity yet. So here's my running VO2 max status, my cycling VO2 max status, lactate threshold, race predictor, and then we have the actual training status, which again, I think this is actually accurate. I'm not sure why this changed right here. And then VO2 max over the last 7 days, and then 7-day training load, and the 4-week load focus, which shows kind of the time spent in different heart rate zones. And then recovery widget as well, altitude acclimation, and then here's going to be the list of activities. So this is kind of interesting where right here, this, again, I haven't used this watch yet, so what you'll see here is that it's syncing over the activities. So if we go to all stats, it'll actually show the activity from this watch right here. And if we go to the bottom, basically after all that information, it shows that the source is from the Fenix 6 Sapphire right here. So now that's all synced over, let's actually go ahead and weigh these things. All right, so unofficially with my scale, let's go ahead and put the Enduro on here. And again, this is going to be the DLC titanium version. 60.1 grams, and that is with the nylon strap right there. So for comparison, we're going to go ahead and do the Instinct Solar. 53.5 grams. Chorus Vertex Icebreaker. 73.2. Fenix 6 Pro Solar, and this is not the 6X, this is the normal 6 size, the middle range one. 71.2 grams. Forerunner 945. 51.4 grams. Polar Grit X. 65.2. Wahoo Element Rival. 53.7. Suunto 9 Barrow. 81.4. And last is going to be the Casio G-Shock GBD H1000. 100.3, almost broke my scale. And almost forgot the Fenix 6 Sapphire. And again, this is not the X version. Sorry, I don't have the actual X to compare it to, but this is the mid-sized option right here, but it is the Sapphire version. 84.1. That's really interesting. So with the Enduro, they really did do a lot to make this watch pretty darn light. So that's actually something that is different from the regular Fenix 6 Pro Solar, as well as the Fenix 6 Sapphire as well, is that this thing is pretty darn light comparatively. So let's also go ahead and try on this new UltraFit strap. So what you're going to see is that there's actually 2 ways that you can remove it. So you can remove it from the top or the bottom. These little kind of like rounded rectangle Velcro thingies are very similar to what you'll see on the Coros Pace 2 as well as the Apple Watch. There is a bit of stretch to this, it's just really nice. So comparatively, again, let's go ahead and go to the Pace 2. This one has, it's a little bit tauter, I think you could say. This one has a little bit more stretch to it. And then the Apple Watch Sport Loop. I would say I'd compare the kind of stretchability, springiness, something like that, to the Apple Watch Sport Loop. And the Pace 2 seems to be just a little bit tauter, so a little bit tighter on the spring. I think this is going to be really important with this new UltraFit Band, just because with this size of a watch, it will tend to bounce around a lot just because of the size of it. It is really lightweight, so that's definitely going to help it, but with the size of it, it definitely can tend to bounce around a little bit. So this is what it looks like on my 187.2 millimeter circumference wrist, give or take. So there's going to be just a little bit left right there, but it is very secure. And I don't know. I'm actually really stoked to try this out because I think this really could keep it very secure in my wrist, which will aid in getting really good heart rate. I think another issue with some of these bands is this little flap right here. So if you were to get it caught on something, it could accidentally come undone. So here's a little real world test for you. That's pretty good. It kind of like springs back into place. There's basically 4 of those little Velcro thingies right there. And it looks like the first one may come undone, but the other 3 keep it on. Pretty cool. And then same thing here where when you actually detach it right here, it's not gonna come through really easily. It does take a little bit of effort to actually pull it through, and then you just pull it through just like that. Kind of takes a little bit of effort to put it back through, but again, I think that's probably a good thing. With the Apple Watch Sport Loop, that was definitely a little bit of a complaint for me, was that when it did come undone, it seemed to come undone like kind of all the way, like really, really easily. So we see it like that. I mean, I'm gonna put it on really, really tight right there. Not bad, but I think that one is gonna be a little more secure. And then with the Pace 2, security-wise, I would say this is equally as good as the new UltraFit Band right here. Really, really good. So to wrap things up, let's talk about who this watch is for and what this watch is really all about. So in terms of who this watch is for, it's going to be for somebody who wants really good battery life. So like an ultra endurance athlete. However, there's that strange omission of maps, which I think is going to be really beneficial for those ultra endurance athletes. So like myself, I'm planning on doing the White Rim in Moab later this year, and that's going to be a 100-mile basically dirt loop. And I would really need mapping and good navigation for that. But then there's also the new Enduro name, even though it's sort of based on the Fenix 6X Pro Solar, just without the Pro features, without the Wi-Fi, music, or maps. So that kind of begs the question of like where the Fenix line is going and where the Enduro line is going, which I mean, I honestly don't know. And then if we look at the price, again, it's kind of interesting just because with the base level Fenix 6 comes in actually less than this right now. So again, this does have the solar capabilities, it does have the new bigger battery, as well as the new platform that optimizes it for better battery. So my guess with the Enduro line is that with the pricing of it, it's gonna be more of like a lighter weight Fenix style watch, where the Fenix line will still kind of continue on. Anyhow, a lot of you already shared your thoughts on the Enduro in the previous video that I did, but make sure to also comment down below with what you think about the Enduro. Anyhow, that's just the unboxing, the setup, the full interface tour, as well as the comparison with a lot of other devices about the Enduro. I'll be testing this pretty darn thoroughly, just like all the other reviews like I do. So if you like this video, make sure to hit that like button down below and also subscribe to the channel for the full in-depth review of the Enduro that should be coming soon. In the meantime, have fun out there, and we will see you in the next video.